A very warm welcome and thank you so much for taking the time to join us for our final Net Group Investment Multi-Management webinar. This is our final one for the 2021 year. I'm Demisha Greater and it is a great pleasure to be your host for today. I must say we have a fantastic lineup for you. We will have leading industry minds who will be giving us their outlook over the next 12 months. We'll be kicking off with Professor William Gumede, who is a well-known author as well as academic and scientist from Wits University. Now he'll be speaking to us around ethics and South African governance. Well, this is very fitting given that we have just gone to the polls just this past Monday. And then we'll get a global overview in terms of how global assets are likely to perform, and in particular global equities. We'll be getting that from Dodge & Cox as they give us their input with that. Then we'll bring it home and we will have the Chief Executive and Founder of Mazi Asset Management, who will be giving us their view on how they think South African equities are likely to fare as we see the environment changing. And then we do have a very, very special guest. We'll have none other than Greg Minnaar. Now, Greg is a 4-time downhill mountain bike world champion. So be sure to stay tuned for that. Well, to kick off the proceedings, I am joined by my colleague and teammate from the multi-management team. I have Leandra Temmers here with me. Leandra, by now, at the end of the year, understandably so, people must be very tired, but this is also a great opportunity for one to, take a step back and reflect, right?
Absolutely, Timmy. I've put together a bit of a highlights package of all of our multi-manager insights webinars over the past couple of months. And I have to say, I'm incredibly proud of what we've achieved as a team with these webinar interactions. I also now have a newfound respect for video editing, having sifted through hours of footage, trying to piece together a few 15 to 20 second clips. But without further ado, please join me in walking down our memory lane of 2021.
Trevor, thank you very much, and I'm sorry about the Shark being a Shark supporter. It's I'm very pleased, although I live in the Western Cape. I'm very pleased that I'm not a Storm supporter at the moment.
You're right. It's been a very challenging time. I mean, typically, being an advisor is a backstage role, and you try very hard to support the vision that your principal has.
We've also seen that households have been exceptionally responsible throughout this crisis. They have, in fact, become net savers. I know it's hard to believe that South African households could have become net savers, but they have, in fact.
Good morning and welcome, Max, and thanks so much for making the time to speak to us today.
Oh, thank you, and thank you for the invite.
Thank you very much, and thank you so much for having me here today. So finding the optimal asset allocation mix, it's something that we spend a lot of time thinking about. It's at the heart of everything that we do within our portfolios.
Well, thank you for that kind introduction, and more broadly to Net Group for inviting us to participate in your webinar and for your confidence in our firm.
Thanks, Trevor. Thanks for those kind words. Not so sure about the long time though. It certainly feels like it after a year like we've just been through.
Great, thanks very much. I hope everyone can hear me, and thanks very much for joining.
What an exciting time it is to be alive. The rate of technological advancement and innovation is running at its hottest pace since our Homo sapien cousins first emerged, what it was all those 200,000 odd years ago.
Yeah, I've been everywhere around the world, traveled far and wide, but I promise you there's no place like South Africa. There's no place like home for me.
Well, thank you so much for that, Leandra. Nothing like a walk down memory lane. And right now I'll be handing over to our head of Net Group Investments Multi-Management, that is Trevor Garvin. We have just looked back, Trevor, and now we'll be looking forward as you'll be taking us through some of the key focus areas going forward. Over to you.
Great to me, thank you, and it's amazing to be here for our final Net Group Investments Multi-Manager Insights for 2021. I'm going to give you a really quick overview of the year to date of markets, some performance, and mainly also just updating you on what's been keeping us busy as the multi-manager division for 2021 and what's going to be our focus areas for next year. So what's been happening year to date in the markets? We see here on this slide the returns as at the end of October, so really hot off the press as of a couple of days ago. We see in the 1 month figure that October month was a great month from a market performance perspective. Equities made a strong recovery. But if we focus on year to date, we see across all asset classes and both within South Africa and globally that markets have been extremely strong. So year to date, equities are up around about 18% locally and 21% in terms of US dollars. If we go and look at the 1 year figure, exceptionally strong returns, 36% for domestic equities, 66% for domestic listed property. And in terms of global markets, we see MSCI All Country World Index up 38% in US dollars and global REITs up 43%. So it's been an extremely strong recovery post the COVID crisis from last year. And I think that's clear to see again on this slide how strong markets have been. So on the left-hand side, we have the South African stock market, the FTSE All-Share Index. On the right-hand side, we have the MSCI World Global Equity Index. And you'll see in terms of local markets hit their low point on the 19th of March 2020. They had fallen 33%. But as of a few days ago, the 29th of October, South African markets up 86% post the COVID crisis. On the right-hand side, we see the global equity markets, and that markets has even been stronger, up an amazing 103% in US dollar terms since the 23rd of March 2020. So first of all, I think the key lesson is you need to try and stick to your investment plan, stay invested over the long term, and particularly often in times of increased anxiety when people are most at panic and things look most in turmoil, often that is the time to invest, and you would have made amazing returns the last 12 months. How have we done from a multi-manager perspective? I'm particularly proud that year to date, 2021 has been a great year from investment performance across the full multi-manager range of funds. On this slide, I just have our Rand-denominated domestic funds. We basically manage two ranges, the exchange solution funds on the left-hand side, and you'll see those funds are up between 11.5% and 18% Rand terms year to date, with all funds quite nicely ahead of peer group. And then we have our select fund range, which is largely for Nedbank Wealth, the private bank and NFP planners. And we have 6 funds here, including our recently launched Select Global Fund, which we launched in March, which is already 2.5% or so ahead of peer groups. But across the board, returns from our the lowest risk Select Income Fund up 5%, to our equity fund also up around 19% year to date, and all funds nicely ahead of peer group. On our global side, we have 3 Irish domiciled UCITS fund of funds, and again, these funds have also performed extremely nicely year to date. Our income multi-fund is up 2.5% in US dollars, 4% ahead of global bond peer group, and our balanced and growth fund are up 8% and 13% in US dollars, again, between 2.5% and 4% ahead of peer group to date. What's also particularly exciting is that these UCITS funds have just hit their 10-year UCITS track record, and since inception are top quartile relative to the global peer group and are consistently top quartile over 1, 3, 5, 7, and a 10-year period now. If we see what has been keeping us busy really over 2021, it's been a busy year for us. We enhanced our website, and I think it's got a great outcome, and we've had very positive feedback from our clients on that. This is, as I've mentioned, our third Investment Insights webinar year to date. This has gone out to over 1,500 people over the course of the year. And I think, as you saw in that earlier video, we've had some really amazing speakers over the course of 2021. We also produce monthly both our global and South African pulse report that goes out monthly on around about the 10th to the 12th day of each month. This goes out to over 2,500 financial advisors across both South Africa and across Europe. And again, we continuously work at this report, trying to enhance it and add value to our advisors. We have a 5-minute bi-weekly voice note that goes out. I hope many of you would have received it actually this morning from Tumi, and we've had also amazing feedback on that, and that goes out to over 1,000 planners every 2 weeks. If you're not getting that voice note, please request it from your support person within Nedgroup. As I've mentioned, our offshore funds have hit a 10-year track record. Also, in terms of our London team, we had a great new hire, a real clever person, a PhD in maths and statistics, as we are wanting to enhance our reporting and quants research in terms of our global fund offering. And the good news is our assets under management, we've just hit around about 35 billion rand, about 3.5–4 billion increase in assets over the course of the last year due to new inflows and market growth. I thought this slide was quite interesting. This just shows you our fund manager interactions for 2021 with our underlying fund managers across both our global and South African dominated Rand investments. And you'll see here we've had over 108 fund manager feedback sessions over the course of this year across all of our underlying fund managers. And at the end of the day, this is really our primary objective, is researching and keeping in touch with our underlying fund managers and doing the ongoing due diligence and monitoring. So 108 meetings over the course of the year face-to-face, or to be honest, largely virtually. We're starting to see managers face-to-face, but that certainly kept us out of mischief. And finally, really, what are we looking forward to and going to be focusing on in 2022? So we have several new ideas and potential fund or product launches that we are working on and applying our minds to. We're paying particular attention to the areas of sustainability, renewables, global equity from an ESG perspective, private equity, infrastructure, and also focusing on a number of the new emerging smaller boutique asset managers within the South African environment. What we're really trying to do is continue to enhance our services to you, our clients, the financial advisors and wealth planners out in the industry. We're also going to be focusing our attention on ESG from a reporting perspective, trying to enhance our fact sheets, our quant sheets, our fund information from an ESG and sustainability perspective. And lastly, really, as a team, we're just continuously trying to upskill ourselves, keep abreast of the industry, and add value to the clients. And to end off really my side for today, we've just seen a few days ago COP26 start in Glasgow, the United Kingdom. For the next 2 weeks, global leaders are going to be sitting down and really tackling, as Boris Johnson said, we 1 minute to midnight in terms of global warming. We need to keep temperatures to no more than 1.5%. And really this is what the global leaders are going to be focusing on at COP26, and we eagerly await to see what agreements they come out with. So from my side, thank you to everybody for all your support. We really hope you've enjoyed all of our webinars this year, and enjoy the next hour and a bit as we bring you 4 amazing speakers as well. So Tumi, with that, I hand back to you.